as we navigate the rapidly evolving landscape of product management, it's crucial to stay ahead of the curve, especially in the growing influence of AI in our field. So as I mentioned, it is about as much you as it is learning what our panel of experts have to say about AI in product. But we will have time for a Q&A at the end of the session. So I'm encouraging everyone, just with a little bit of housekeeping first, that if you do have a pertinent question, please pop it in the Q&A function, not the chat. The chat is going to be used for valuable resources to be placed in there. Links, there'll be all sorts of different things that will pop in the chat function, but we'll get to your questions, and I'll be monitoring the questions only in the Q&A function. So if we can use the Q&A for your questions, that would be ideal as well, as always. But what will we get through today? We'll be covering several key topics on the next slide. The current landscape of product management and emerging trends within, essential skills for future-ready product managers, the impact of AI on, I'll say, our roles, even that's including me as not a product manager, but have a passion for it, on our roles, strategies for standing out in your product management career, and finally, how the King's Product Management Career Accelerator can certainly help you achieve your goals in that as well. So with a packed schedule and many people in attendance, it gives me great pleasure now to welcome our panel today. We're fortunate enough to have an exceptional panel of experts joining today. We'll be hearing valuable insights from panelists throughout the webinar, and at the end, as I said previously, we'll have that Q&A. So let's dive in, and I might get the panelists to introduce themselves. I might start with Justin, if that's okay. Welcome, Justin. Great to see you again, as always.
Thanks, DC. Hello, I'm a product manager here at Fourth Rev, so work here with DC and very closely with Tom, who facilitates and contributes to our courses. So I looked after the content and the course teaching for our King's Career Accelerator courses, both product management and product design. So happy to be here and share my experiences and thoughts on where the industry is going.
Looking forward to it, Justin. Your expert insights are always welcome and much appreciated. Tom, welcome. How are you?
Yeah, good, thanks. Thanks for having me on again. I've actually changed jobs. I need to give you my new bio. So I'm now the UK product lead at a company called JNAP, who make software for allied healthcare professionals. So my background very much health technology. I worked in the NHS many moons ago and have been a product leader for over a decade now, which makes me feel very old. So I've been teaching on the Career Accelerator for over 2 years now. I think I'm on my 4th or 5th cohort. I work a lot with Justin on course improvements and obviously day-to-day stuff as well. So yeah, great to be here, and hopefully I can share some useful stuff with you all.
No doubt you will. Congratulations on the new role. How's it going, firstly?
Yeah, well, it's a Canadian company, so it's already been interesting, trying to talk about the weather and things like that. And they don't work in centigrade all the time, so yeah, it's good fun.
Different. Okie doke. We'll get into, I guess, providing an overview and framing some of what we're going to speak about today first. And I guess let's start at that current landscape of product management. The demand for skilled product managers has been skyrocketing in recent years. And I think that's also with the demand for so many more digital products coming online. I say this all the time, but there's not too many now physical products that don't have a digital element. Every can of Coke has a QR code, for example. But according to LinkedIn data, job postings for product managers have grown by an impressive 32% annually over the last 5 years. Even more striking, even though we have students from all over the world, the majority are in the UK, and in the UK alone, we saw a 140% increase in demand for product managers just a few years ago in 2022. The annual growth statistics demonstrate, it's been consistent with a significant spike in the last few years. This surge in demand presents an incredible opportunity for both current product managers looking to advance their careers, physical product managers looking to transition into the digital space or digital product management space, and then fellow professionals or external, if we can say that, professionals considering a transition into this exciting field, as we've seen so many of our learners achieve already. But it's not, on the next slide, it's not just about the number of jobs available. The role itself is evolving rapidly. We've seen a shift from purely tactical product management to more strategic leadership orientated positions. Companies are now looking for product managers who can drive data-informed decision making, integrate cutting-edge technologies such as AI into products and processes, balance technical expertise with strong soft skills, and that's so important. We'll touch on that specifically shortly, and lead cross-functional teams effectively. So for the panel, what changes have you observed in the skills and qualifications industry are looking for in product managers over the last few years? And I might direct that to you, Tom, in your new role.
Sure, no problem. The obvious one is that use of AI, although it does vary as to whether it's an overt like
Yes.
ask on a job description or whether it is simply because the breadth of the role will demand that you either work hugely hard and a lot of hours to cover all the things on the screen that you've got here, DC, and more, or you've got to find ways to be more efficient. You know, whether that be writing a product requirements document using AI to start with as a first draft and then you refine it, or asking AI to look at some unrefined data and, you know, maybe do some sentiment analysis from user interviews. It doesn't replace you, but I always say it gets you off the blank page, which is often hard for people, right? You sit, you've got something to do, it gets you started. It also gets you drafting early, and it means you can get more feedback, and that's obviously the lifeblood of product work. So there's kind of the less overt bit. The bit that is becoming in other industries, certainly, you know, a little bit in health, but I do see it in other areas, is actual what I'd called hard AI skills, so machine learning, etc., etc. Not my area of like deep expertise. I'm probably more on the soft, like day to day. How can you use AI to level up and to, you know, ultimately get some time back, really? But there are obviously more and more algorithm based products out there. There are more and more products that are central. Their value proposition demands AI deep skills, and that's obviously something that, you know, is individual and very much up to you all to decide whether those are areas you want to pursue. But my overall piece here for this first thing is that AI skills, you know, either specific or general day to day as level, you know, something that's going to level you up, are absolutely needed now. So a big shift in the market there.
Yeah, very interesting. I guess that also ties in with cross-functional teams that may also provide AI-specific expertise as well. But Justin, anything you would like to add to that scenario
Yeah,
there?
absolutely. I can touch a bit more on the AI as well as some other things that I'm seeing in the industry. I think what's very interesting about the AI is everyone's like, you need to know AI, you need to be prepared for job interviews. But if you go on LinkedIn right now and you look at what product manager roles are available in the UK, I've done that this morning just to kind of back up my assumptions, is that a lot of them aren't even putting AI knowledge on the job description. So like when you're going to, these are roles I'm looking at today for Google, Airbnb, Monzo, Deal, no mention of AI. Now, whether that means they expect you to implicitly be able to use it to be more efficient, as Tom said, or not, is important. But not everyone's asking for deep AI expertise, particularly on the technical side. But I will say, as product managers, we need to be aware of how to integrate AI into your product in service. I mean, we look at this at 4th how it can support the teaching, how it can support the marketing, how it can support our day-to-day operations. And you really should understand at a high level how AI actually works, like how do large language models work, how do tokens work, what's the pricing behind it, because then you can, you know, pitch things to your leaders and to your team with expertise on what you need to know. What you don't need to do is know deep knowledge of technical knowledge. I mean, even your own teams, that the machine learning people you may have on your teams already, or the developers, they have enough technical knowledge to handle the AI as well. So you don't even need like super specialists within your dev teams. You just need to know how to work with them and how AI works so that you can implement it into your product. But what this means though is that especially as AI starts to do more heavy lifting of like product development, when it actually starts doing a lot of the coding work, the onus is going to be back on product managers to like actually decide what goes in the product, what goes in the roadmap, what's our strategy. And people are going to be relying on product managers to have that business acumen, to have that strategy, to be able to really focus efforts, and not just blindly do what AI is saying. So that's kind of my take on where AI is going. I think the other key skills that people are looking at are on the screen for what you said. I think data is not emphasized enough. Okay, you don't need to be a data pro. You don't need to know SQL or Python like inside and out, but you need to know like how to interpret data, like basic statistical knowledge, like how sample sizes work, looking at means and medians, etc. And be familiar with tools like SQL and Excel. I think this will go a long way in opening up your career opportunities.
Completely.
Yeah.
Great
One,
insight.
the one last biggest point is
Yeah, please.
adaptability. In today's market, is adaptability. Like you don't need to be the expert in everything unless you're being hired for a specific industry, but you need to be able to adapt. And I think that's should be one of the like strengths of a product manager is that they can be flexible and adapt to the needs of the market, of your business, etc. So that's probably the most important thing out there right now is adaptability.
Touch on that. That's a very, very good point. On to the next slide. I guess branching deeper into that, success in product management requires that delicate balance of the technical prowess and the soft skills. So let's break that down a little. As you can see on this matrix, on the technical side, we have the examples such as data analytics and data-driven decision-making, critical as Justin just mentioned, AI integration, proficiency in product management tools and methodologies, and user behavior analysis. On the soft skills side, we have leadership and team management, communication and stakeholder management, strategic thinking and vision setting, and the adaptability and continuous learning that also was just mentioned. So harnessing that together, the challenge for many companies is finding candidates who excel in both areas. It's a combination that truly sets outstanding product managers apart. Balancing technical expertise with soft skills like leadership, communication, and empathy is a major challenge, cited by 81% of respondents in one survey. It's a considerable challenge that many fields experience, but I think also product with what's available out there, especially for those looking to transition, that employers are facing today as well, and one that we solve as our whole being. We'll just jump on to the next slide. Let's dive a little deeper into those technical skills. We've touched on them already, but we'll skip through some of this and just a reminder for everyone. There's a couple of questions in the Q&A as we go. If you feel the need, please place your question in the Q&A, but also read the other questions in there and vote them up if you've got the option of doing so, because we'll always answer the most pertinent ones first as well. As we've said, the ability to work with data is becoming increasingly crucial and forms much of the basis of many of the language models and so forth. This doesn't mean, as Justin already mentioned, that you need to be a full-on data scientist, but we need to be comfortable with a number of those tools that we mentioned. Analyze data to inform product decisions, using AI-powered tools for market research and even competitor analysis comes into that. And I guess potentially even understanding the basics of machine learning or the basics of coding to collaborate effectively with data teams within your team who may be producing most of those outputs. Familiarity with software development process such as basic coding concepts can also greatly enhance in your effectiveness when working with engineering teams. Again, you don't need to have that level of technical proficiency, but an understanding of what your team is doing and how they produce what you need them to is going to be advantageous there for product managers. The critical soft skills, let's talk about them. In many ways, these are what separate, as I said before, good product managers from great ones. Leadership, you need to be able to inspire and guide cross-functional teams without necessarily having sometimes the direct authority. It's a complex, in many organisations, it's a complex role that a product manager plays in navigating that as well. And that often comes down to communication as a soft skill. Clear, persuasive communication is essential, whether you're explaining technical concepts to non-technical stakeholders or pitching your product vision to executives or customers in that case. The adaptability, we've touched on that flexibility in our fast-paced industry, the ability to pivot quickly and learn new skills is invaluable. And then emotional intelligence, understanding and managing your own emotions, as well as those of your team members, can make a huge difference in product success. My question to the panel in relation to that, as product professionals, I guess, how have you seen the balance of technical and soft skills play out in your day-to-day work, especially when it comes to integrating new technologies like AI? Justin, do you want to go first this time?
Yeah, sure, I can go first. I think the most important skill set, at least for the product that we have, which is, you know, Fourth Rev and the career accelerators at King's and other universities, the softer skills are where the emphasis is. That leadership, that communication is probably the biggest one, that I can communicate to and with members across the company about you know, feedback from users, data, make sure I'm connecting with marketing. So there's a lot of stakeholder management and communicating strategy very well. Making strategic decisions is very, very important. Understanding data. When it comes to the technical side, it's more about understanding where we could maybe include technical aspects like AI to improve like our operations or our service. So right now we're actually speaking with a company that focuses on AI to support operations for learning companies. So our delivery lead for this course is looking at that. We've explored how marketing, for example, how AI could support marketing without degrading that aspect. And, you know, I need to be the one that understands like what's the pricing behind that? How do we implement that technology, etc. Of course, I'm not deciding the technical strategy for that. I am understanding that from the team that runs that product and communicate it to the business. So the soft skills are definitely where I'd say the product manager, at least for me, is like where I'm called on. Now, if you're in a more technical product, it might be different. I have a feeling Tom is more similar to me because he also doesn't work on an extremely technical product, but he may have a different perspective.
No, I think you're absolutely right, Justin. My view on it is that soft skills are transferable everywhere. Um, Technical skills do travel, like in the general principle. They are not always part of the PM role. They can sometimes be, but they tend to be for more specialist roles, specialist industries. In much the same way that, say, marketing might be part of product management roles in certain places, it really does depend. Whereas what we've got on the screen here is your core. And I think what the Career Accelerator challenges you to do as a learner who's going through it is to start building out your ability to communicate with leadership and to think strategically. So the big thing, I also coach PMs in the real world, and a lot of people get into being a very good project manager and able to organize very well. That's one form of good communication, but actually the soft power, the influencing. And where does that come from? Well, that comes from your ability to build relationships with stakeholders right across the business. So as a PM, you're an amplifier of what the business is trying to do. So you may have a user or customer value lens that you look at the business through, but ultimately your job is to work across the specialisms. And that really is why I believe that soft skills are where people often need to develop, and also where you need to continuously try and improve. I think that's not to ignore the hard skills from the previous slide at all. It's more to say that you'll need a foundation in those and then need to invest in your context when you arrive somewhere, or, you know, if you're in a current role, you'll need to keep learning. But I think these core skills are critical soft skills, as the slide said. I definitely would agree with this slide.
I love that. And I see your hand up, Justin. I just wanted to touch on one thing that you said. You're an amplifier for what the business is trying to achieve. Was that how you worded it? That's brilliant. That I hadn't heard it described that way previously. I love that. Justin.
Yeah, it's probably also worth just reiterating about the technical skills. It's not about being a deep expert in any of those skills, but rather having a basic knowledge and enough that you can communicate with those stakeholders and understand what they're trying to implement, and then communicate that back to the business. Then there's a separate role of the technical product manager, which you can't really be unless you have, say, 5 years experience in the technical field, for example, that you were a developer before for 5, 10 years, or it could be 2, 3 years, or you were a data analyst before. That's when you have deep knowledge. And that's when you may get some companies that are looking for a technical product manager who has worked deep in that specific coding language or deep in data because their product really, really relies on it. You can only really go down that technical product route if you have that past experience. What we can do is help you get familiar with that technology, and also help people that used to work in technical fields become great product managers, because they tend to maybe not have acquired the softer skills that are critical to the role yet.
Excellent. Some great questions coming through. Also, just encouraging everyone to consider popping your ones in, or feel free to hear the panel prior to us getting to them. I'll keep an eye on the time always. On to our next slide, if we can. I guess artificial intelligence isn't just a feature we're adding to products, it's revolutionising how we work as product managers as well. As we can see from this chart, AI is impacting various aspects of product management. We've touched on some, but some we'll touch on a little bit deeper. So we've said about data analysis already. AI can process vast amounts of data quickly, uncovering insights that may have been missed by human analysis alone. Customer insights, AI-powered tools can analyse user behaviour and feedback at scale, helping us understand our customers better. Personalisation, I think, is critical. AI enables hyper-personalised user experiences, a key differentiator in many products. Task automation, routine tasks like data collection and reporting can be automated, freeing up time for more strategic work or focus on those soft skills and management and cross-departmental management and things like that. And decision-making, AI can provide data-driven recommendations to support decision-making processes. I think it was Justin that mentioned it before. You don't rely on AI to make the decision, but you rely on it to help you arrive or support the decision-making process. It's important to note that AI isn't replacing product managers at all. It's augmenting capabilities, allowing us to work smarter and focus on more high-value activities, and that's exactly what employers want and need as well. On to the next slide. However, with great power comes great responsibility. As we integrate AI products as we integrate AI into products and our processes, we need to be mindful of ethical considerations. Data privacy, for example. How are we collecting and using customer data? Algorithmic bias. How our AI models are they fair and unbiased? And transparency. Can we explain how our AI-driven features make decisions? As product managers, we play a critical role in ensuring that our products are not only innovative, but also ethical and responsible. A question for the panel before we get through a few more slides and then audience Q&A. But in your experience, how has AI changed the way in which product managers work, and are there any ethical challenges that you see PMs are often needing to address? Tom first, if we can.
Well, as an industry specific one that I'll just briefly touch on, obviously I work in healthcare, and AI is often thought of as the thing that will solve healthcare. And of course, there's a lot of regulation for things like software as a medical device. It can be tricky when you're assessing companies to work out who has really figured out the impact they want to make with AI versus who's saying they've got the next shiny thing. That can be quite difficult working with startups. It's more internally in the role of the PM within businesses. It's some things that Justin has said, like it's that assessment of AI as a solution to a defined problem. Now, and obviously Justin gave a great example there of, there's some clear efficiency desires. Okay, we're going to look at this solution, but you assess it properly in amongst, you know, the kind of usual, like, we could do nothing, we could employ another person, we could, and that's hard at the moment. You know, it can be an ethical issue because you can end up throwing AI in somewhere that's not appropriate, it's not been tested, etc., etc. It then spills over into quite an emotive issue that sometimes PMs can have to be the one to say, well, actually, this isn't the best solution for this problem. Either the problem's badly defined or it just simply doesn't match with AI. And I think that's worth understanding, that often as a PM, you will have to deal with the new trends. And again, Justin said something around, you don't need to be an expert, but you need to know enough to hold a balanced conversation and to rise above the solutioning that goes on and get back to the problem, you know, the amplification of what is the business actually trying to achieve, rather than just, we're going to build this AI thing. I think once you then do get into AI as a solution to a problem, you have to assess the risks, and the ethics comes in there really. You know, is this, if it's a customer facing product and it's giving them information, or have you got the right disclaimers, have you got the right kind of privacy notices for where their data, you're going to use their data to train the model? Obviously there's been a lot in the news about OpenAI using pretty much everything to train their models, and they've just kind of not really asked any permission, right? So there's all of these multifaceted things, and I very much think the ethical considerations are really important. I think, but as you start to go down this kind of line of inquiry, you also open up sort of emotive business issues as well, and it just gives people on the call a window into the sorts of things you have to deal with before you even get to like hands-on, like solutioning, prototyping, user testing. Way before all of that, it's that stakeholder management there that's really important.
Very good points there as well. And there is many examples. I won't go into the one that I heard of recently, but it was a real bias within AI that turned into a scenario where there was no diversity within an environment that thrived on diversity. I'm going to move on, if that's all right, as I'm just conscious of time. We've got a little bit more to get through and there's questions flowing. Actually, I'm going to pause because there is one question relating to ethics. Do you consider the environmental ethical considerations for the impact of using AI, and how do you navigate that? I guess it's a little bit different than a product-related AI question specifically, but as it was addressing ethics, I thought it was pertinent to put in here now. Is that something that I guess it's more businesses than product managers need and are aware of than, but is there any insight from Justin or Tom regarding that? Because it's going to become more and more an issue as we move forward as well.
No, I don't have a specific insight on that. I guess it will depend a lot on your company's environmental policy and how much they as a company place importance on that. I think with the product manager, it's more focused on the privacy use, like Tom mentioned, and also the negative business implications that can happen if you're not monitoring your AI. I mean, I'd say chatbots is like one of the biggest cases where AI is being used more and more today. If you don't create the right parameters around your AI assistant for your chatbot, you can't control what it sends back to the user, and you can't control it to an extent. So you have to be very aware of what database and language model is being used, so that you can ensure, particularly what parameters are being set for your AI assistant, so that you're not saying the wrong things to customers. I think I don't know if it was you were going to do the issue around the airline DC, but there's been a lot of issues with like companies' AI chatbots, promising the wrong thing or giving the wrong data. And so it's important as a product manager that you are aware of the technical capabilities and possibilities of AI and how to control that. But yeah, I don't have an exact answer for the environmental impact, but I understand why someone might be considered with the amount of power that's used to power AI servers. I assume that's what the question is about.
Yeah, it's a good consideration, and one that, as I said, will grow. I think it ties into what I'm going to speak about here about standing out. If it's a competitive edge that you have in the consideration of and it aligns with company values, you've got yourself a career advancement strategy as well. So it's great to think that way. But I guess standing out in any competitive field, and product management's no different, requires a strategic effort. Here are some key strategies. So continuous learning, we're advocates of that, obviously, but staying up to date with latest trends, technologies, and methodologies. This could involve taking a course that we'll touch on in a moment, attending conferences or participating in webinars, even such as this one. Building a strong network. PMs love networking, I find, more so than most other career accelerators that we run, but connecting with other product managers who are usually always arms open, attending industry events and engaging in online communities. Your network can be a valuable source of knowledge, opportunities, and support. Developing a personal brand, so share your insights through blog posts, speaking engagements, or social media. Establishing yourself as a thought leader can open doors to new opportunities. Seeking diverse experiences, try to work on different types of products or in various industries. A diverse portfolio can make you a more versatile and valuable product manager. And embracing data and AI, as we've discussed, the proficiency in data and AI is increasingly important. Look for opportunities to develop these skills in your current role or through side projects or through courses such as the Career Accelerator as well. So just to reiterate there, continuous learning, building a strong network, developing a personal brand, seeking diverse experiences, and embracing data and AI for product management are key strategies that will help you advance your career, or transition your career, we should say as well, as we are touching on now. For those actually considering that transition into product, it's important to recognise that many skills from other roles are transferable, and many skills. A couple of examples, and Tom touched on it before as well, but project managers often excel at coordination and timeline management. Marketers bring valuable skills in user research and positioning. Technical engineers have a deep understanding of development processes. This is key to identify your transferable skills and articulate how they apply to product management. Let's hear from our panelists on this one. But what would make a candidate stand out to you, do you feel, in the hiring process? Who wants to go first? Tom.
Yeah, I don't mind jumping in first. Yeah, I've done a lot of hiring. I think one of the most underutilized areas in any business is knowing your customers really, really well. So I find, and there's a question in the chat actually about customer success transition as well. So we'll sort of handle that with what I'm going to say. I think examples where you've done that are really key for transferring into product management as a standout. I would agree with everything on the screen here because there's a lot of crossover. Project management being that if you've delivered big projects and shown you can deliver, that's key for building trust in product management. You've got to be able to deliver as well as do all the soft skills. There's sort of the hard and fast, like you got to get the job done as well. Marketing and sort of sometimes a logical transition for marketing is to look at product marketing type roles. Engineering, again, we've touched on the technical PM roles, so it might not be you go into a straight like business facing PM role. Everybody's journey is different. I think UX UI design is often like they're right in the middle of product and then it's an expansion out, but I think that's more Justin's area to talk about, actually, with your background, Justin. I personally came from more of kind of a project management background originally. So I kind of fit on the left of this slide personally. I was project and operational management in healthcare and then moved to a healthcare company who were private and wanted to build a digital arm. And I ended up heading that up. And the way I was successful in that first job was about delivery initially. And then I started to learn things like, how to understand what customers will need rather than just delivering kind of what the organization says. Let's go out and actually understand the market. So that was kind of my entry in. Everybody's journey is different. I think the advice on the previous slide around networking is key. And also, things like this course also help give you an understanding of okay, I'm really good at the strategy bit, or actually I prefer the delivery bit. So maybe I'll target more like business analyst or product owner roles. So although this is a product management accelerator, there are a lot of kind of adjacent or umbrella roles that sit in and around product management as well. So I suppose don't be too linear in your thinking here would be my advice, and explore different things.
Exactly. Justin, I guess for those transitioning into product management, what advice would you give based on your own experience?
Yeah, I mean, I think almost everyone's a career changer that becomes a product manager. I would say most people just like don't become a product manager after university, for example. And you don't have to go to university to be a product manager, to be clear. But yeah, I think like a lot of standing out and getting a role, especially if you're coming from somewhere else, is about demonstrating both potential and commitment. Um, so a lot of the potential comes from your past experience. So if I look at my career, I transitioned from finance and consulting, and then I did an MBA, and then I went into product management. And then from product management, I actually discovered product design and research, and kind of went down that path for a while in my career before returning to product management. So I'd say my experience on like Deloitte's graduate program shows my like potential for like hard work, which a lot of product managers have to do, and strategic thinking. Working at in audit and finance, I was like aware of how financials and businesses work. I think that demonstrating that was really good. And then working in consulting, was clear about managing stakeholders, presenting up to C-level management and to others, demonstrates your ability to work with other stakeholders. So it's about demonstrating that. And then I would say like the commitment is often shown in your continuous learning. So, for me, it was my MBA. If for you, it could be this course, for example. It demonstrates that you're both willing to commit time and money to this career. So it shows that you are serious about it, when you're applying for roles. Of course, it doesn't have to be this course. Obviously, we recommend it, but it is a way to show your commitment. And I think that's really key. And then the other thing it's going to do that I think is kind of funny to say out loud, that I think is really crucial in interviews, is being able to talk the talk. Everyone says you need to walk the walk, not talk the talk. But actually, in interviews, like you need to be able to talk the talk, and you can only do that if you really know what you're talking about. If you really understand that, people interviewing you aren't stupid. They can tell whether you are, faking it or not. So if you can talk knowledgeable about product management and some of your background that is relevant, like Tom said, I think that is a massive plus. And a course like this is going to help with that. So my last suggestion on top of that would be to look for some mentorship and to network as much as you can in this field if you're looking to break in. Just like any other field, if you want to break into it, you network with those people and you get mentorship. Why work really hard at something you don't know anything about when you can have the advice of a mentor who's gone down that road before? It's kind of a no-brainer in my book.
Exactly. Thank you. And just one more on that, portfolio development as well, for either, I guess, advances or changes. Is that of equal importance? Is that what employers are seeking as well?
I think Tom and I have similar views on this. It's not
It's got to,
critical
it's got to
for,
stand out, doesn't it?
it's not critical. Tom, you can correct me if you're different. I would say it's not critical for product managers, and it's almost like there's other low-hanging fruit and things to focus on at this point in your career. Now, I think once you become a product manager and you've been product management for a while, probably similar to product designers, there is some value in creating a portfolio or case studies. Not always necessary, especially the more senior you get, but I think it can be helpful and make you stand out. But I would say if you're transitioning, portfolio might not be appropriate. And Tom, you can correct me if you feel different.
No, I think everybody's different. I think you and I feel the same about this, Justin, having chatted about it. Something that I'm keen on, and certainly on the accelerators I teach on, I talk about a model of product. So this comes back to something Justin just said of how can you map the things of product you can already do? Well, to understand that, you need to learn about product management. How does strategy development work through to ideation, through to initial stages of design, prototyping, user research, into delivery, development, ongoing goals, metrics, measurement, go to market, all of it. Where, and there's been questions in the chat about specific roles. To me, the task becomes about like which bits of it have you already done, and then figuring out your best examples, but also having a way of kind of visualizing that model of product is potentially more where I give advice, and I'm quite keen on, and I personally use that because most product management interview questions will map back to either soft skills or some aspect of the model of product. So that is why I'm slightly less keen on portfolios as a blanket advice, although they can be useful for certain people, and more tend to give the general advice of that end-to-end mapping, map yourself onto it, then figure out, okay, are there projects in my existing role I can get into that help me show more of the end-to-end skills that I need to go and get that PM or PO or BA role that I want.
And that
Excellent.
should, DC, I think that covers one of the questions we have here on soft skills, like how do you assess those and where can you improve? I think if you take Tom's advice there and you learn about product management either through this course or, today even, you could go have a conversation with ChatGPT about some of the key roles within product management and soft skills, just to see if they maybe are touching on things that you've done already. And you can use, we often do skill mapping, like radar chart exercise in our program, where you can map your soft skills and technical skills, and you can use that to map out where you may not have experience and where you might have experience. I think that would be a good way to start.
That's a really, really good one. And also, Matthew, thank you for that question in the Q&A. Just a reminder for everyone, there's a couple of questions coming through the chat, and I'm not looking at the chat, I'm looking at the Q&A, so do please post them in there. But Matthew, also, I'll touch on it in a moment, but also bringing that out with your career coach as a part of the Career Accelerator will be highly, highly beneficial as well. I've got to get through some slides quick because we've got to get to the questions, but I'm going to stick around a little bit longer if people want to know more about how to tailor a successful application or payment plans and things like that. But let's look at the Career Accelerator and how it will assist people either advance, as some people have requested, or transition their careers into product. It is first designed in true consultation with both the best of academic underpinnings from King's, that they're globally renowned for in their digital humanities faculty, and also industry. It's bridging the gap between academia and industry that the Career Accelerator sits, ensuring that you get the rigor, enabling you to apply with confidence with the underpinnings that are going to serve you so well, but yet the productivity, I guess, of practical learning. There's no exam. So it is designed to equip you with those skills and knowledge needing to excel in the evolving field that we've just discussed. It features a comprehensive curriculum of both technical and soft skills, industry partnerships that are critical, providing real-world insights and networking opportunities, and the career services that I'll touch on a bit more deeply to support your job search or career advancement. Many people don't realise that the Career Accelerator contains executive-style career coaching. You'll have one-on-one sessions with a career coach, and it's not just LinkedIn and resumes, and although that's certainly a part of your brand that they'll work on with you, but it's a whole suite of skills designed for you to succeed not only in your next role, but any role that you choose to apply for in the future. I'm very pleased to also offer the audience tonight, and for those that do apply early, there will be an extension of that coaching for 6 months post completion. It's often a case, especially if you're looking to transition into product, that you get the learning under your belt, you start applying for roles, and it's then that the coaching becomes so valuable as well. So we're going to provide an additional 6 months of executive style career coaching. The modules, as you can see, they're product management and strategy, product design and development, and launching products to market, taking you from end to end, and then it's wrapped up with an employer project at the end. So your learning outcomes from those first 3 courses enable your participation with the likes of Sky, who will meet with you as a team of like students or peers. They'll present you a real challenge, product-related challenge within their organisation, and as a team of product managers, you'll work over a 6-week period to come up with innovative and tangible solutions to that scenario, presenting your recommendations back to Sky in a consultancy style presentation at the end. The benefit of that is numerous. It is practical application of learning in the real world. It is also a great networking opportunity, both more deeply with your peers, but also industry. And lastly, it's an inspiring demonstration of your value to a prospective employer to demonstrate that you've worked with someone with the likes of Sky on a real project or product, enhancing your ability to service the question of what experience do you have, as well as highlighting your transferable skills. As you can see there, 87.5% of our learners achieve their career goal within 6 months of completing the Career Accelerator. And we've been running this for a number of years now with 4 intakes per year. We do cap our numbers though to maintain that learner experience. If we opened it up for 300 learners globally, the industry project would be diluted, we feel, by needing 15 or 20 learners on a project team. We keep it to lower numbers to ensure that we have 5 or 6 on a project team. And as you can see, you also access regularly throughout the program the use of AI, but we do have a specific learning track that you'll be invited to webinars from industry experts, especially on different topics throughout. And for those in attendance also, you'll be invited to the AI session and join a Q&A session with our graduate that's upcoming as well. I'm going to stick around for a little bit more information. I'll give a quick overview of the entry criteria, the cost, the payment plans as well, but I do want to get to thank you for putting that screen up there. We've got some amazing and inspiring graduate stories, and you'll be able to find them on our YouTube page, but also upcoming live where you can ask learners and graduates a question in the program as well that have completed the program. Before I do a wrap, actually, I might jump into the Q&A and then come back to the wrap if that's okay, Sam. So let's get through some of the questions for the panel as well. So firstly, how important do you feel AI is and continues to be as a differentiator for trying to secure a job within product management or generally in today's job market? If we can answer these ones promptly with a view of what we've already covered, but also with the diligence of answering the questions. Sorry, Justin, go ahead.
Yeah, I can answer quite quickly. I think we covered it quite a bit. I would say where it can help increase your chances is where we are seeing increases in the job market. I'd say the 2 main areas are in remote positions growing to on-site positions are growing, and then the other one is AI product management roles. So if you wanted to specialize in AI product management, there is a lot more of that out there. So if you added that to your arsenal, it would be and it give you more opportunities than if you just focused on non-AI roles. Hopefully that
Exactly. Philip's asked also, to what extent will the accelerator focus on learning how to implement AI into product development roadmap versus focusing on AI skills to make your job easier? Who'd like to answer that one? Yep, go, Justin.
Yeah, I might as well do that because I put together that learning track. I know that people like Tom, when he's teaching the program, we have we have multiple weekly live sessions. So he will share how he uses AI in his work, or another facilitator, how they use it. Usually on that side, it is from the how to increase productivity, like things like ChatGPT and other tools. But we also have a specific masterclass that's geared towards productivity for product managers. So talking about how to, use AI to do first drafts of PRDs, research scripts, etc. And then we have a full-on masterclass that's led by a guy named Alex, who's hosting on April Fool's a live session for leads on introduction to product management. He teaches how to integrate product or AI into your product and how to manage AI products. So there's a full masterclass on that. That is only for our learners, so that's a closed session. But if you join our program, you will have access to that session. And he has his own AI product and consultancy, so he's the perfect person to teach that course.
Yeah, I really enjoyed listening to him last time, and I've been doing product for 10 years. He's definitely an expert as in this area. So yeah, really good.
He's a good storyteller too.
Yes.
Yeah, he's great. He's great. Yeah, he's got the knowledge and can deliver it, which is not not that common, to be fair. So yeah, definitely really good.
Yeah.
Priyanka's asked if we have any recommendation of AI tools to experiment with and practice using for personalization, data analysis. There's some low-hanging fruit there, but anything specific you'd like to mention?
Personalization's a very broad church, so quite hard to recommend things off the shelf. I mean, tools that I'll use day to day, Chat GPT, Gemini, Miro, Figma have all got prototyping. Then there's Gamma AI that does presentations, websites. I think really it's hard to say go and play with all these, but I think as you were saying, DC, like low hanging fruit are the obvious, like the large language models, and see what you can get it to do and see whether you rate the output of it. And then you will start to get into more like, more specialist tools as well.
Exactly. Noaf has asked, how would you advise product managers to transition towards roles outside of their country? Noaf, I'm not sure if you've already applied, but if you have, thank you. I just recognize your name. I think the best way to do that very quickly is also demonstrate your experience, but also with the career coaching enabling you to position your skills for a specific market. And especially these days, hyper personalization can also come in the form of job seeking. You hyper personalize your application towards a role, and it might be a stepping stone of remote towards then developing the network within the country that you're targeting. So there's many ways, but the career coaching within the Career Accelerator will certainly assist with that as well. Pierce has asked,
DC, would you mind if I just add a quick one to that one?
Please, go for it.
Yeah, so when I did my graduate degree or MBA, the career coaches gave advice that it's tough to do all three changes at once. So that's location, career, like role, and industry. So my advice to you would be, what industry are you working in now? Can you go do a product management role in that industry? And I think that plays into good advice for everyone on this call, where with this tough job market, people are looking for product managers that actually have experience within their own industry. So it's a great way to look at transitioning into a product management role, is to think about, oh, I work in telecom, so I should do a product management role there, or something like that. So I would definitely consider staying within your industry if you're going to change your role and location. That can at least, don't make it extra hard on yourself if you can.
Exactly. Philippe's asked, what about people coming from commercial BD leadership background? How often have you come across people with this background, and how would you? Philippe, what is so inspiring of the Career Accelerator cohorts and the current learners that we have in our alumni is the variance of everyone's backgrounds. It's quite broad, although we see sometimes common traits of roles that we mentioned earlier. We've had teachers that have made a really, really successful transition into. We've had journalists undertake it, the program. We've had all sorts. So you're not unique in that regard. I think if you've got with your commercial/BD lens and leadership opportunities, that you've got a customer-centric mindset, especially, you've got amazing transferable skills. Himansu's asked, and there's a couple of other older questions that I'm going to get to in a moment, but Himansu's asked, I'm a technical product manager. Can you please help me understand how this program will help me? Tom, you've got, yep, go for it.
I mean, kind of depends on what your career goal is, because proposing a solution without knowing the problem. But if we assume that you want to get into non-technical PM roles, maybe that's a reasonable assumption, or you just want to get better at your craft. I think where it helps people who are often deep in the solutioning is about that quantification of problem and working more broadly. So that ability to work on strategy and then thinking about the go-to-market as well. So if you're very strong on delivery in the technical aspect, it will help broaden you out. However, without knowing goals, it is difficult to say.
Exactly. And again, I think for many of these attendees today, the best thing that you can do following this is to book a time with your enrolment advisor, who firstly isn't going to say enroll now, enroll now. They're going to say, what do you currently do and what are you striving to achieve? And how can we marry up the two to enable you to accelerate your career? That's what it's all about. So in the chat function, there is a link to book a time with your enrolment advisor. And if, for those of you who have, I'm sure you'll give a thumbs up given your experience in the conversation that you've had already, or for those that haven't yet, that's the best way to ascertain and understand more deeply if this is for you. Giannis has asked here, it's a bit of a long one. I'm going to try and cut it down, but basically it is, he's concerned about the rise of AI agents that are taking industries like Storm and growing in a tremendous pace. Any advice? Also, AI software taking over every industry. I'm not sure about that, but I guess it's addressing the concerns of AI replacing product managers, which we touched on. But Justin, you've got
Yeah, I
something to
mean, I don't
say
think we
too.
need to dive too deep, but like no one's going to let AI make all the decisions on its own. It needs a gatekeeper or someone to decide what's going in the roadmap, to check that everything's right, to make strategic decisions. So I think what's going to happen is product managers might actually become less technical, and the soft skills are going to be in the business acumen, and the strategic skills are going to be even more important. I know this is what Alex teaches on his AI course. So that's what I would say to that. I think PM is one of the safer roles in terms of AI when you compare it to roles to other roles in the tech space.
Getting through a couple more. We've only got 2 or so minutes, but I'll stick around and answer some more at the end. But I know that Tom might have to run. Justin, you might be able to join me for a little bit. Do we actually, what I'll do for those that can't stick around, I'm going to come back to the questions. Sorry for jumping around, but what I will do now is just go back to wrap things up so everyone gets this portion of the call to action and the like. But let's recap some of the key points we've covered. The product management field is growing rapidly, with increasing demand for skilled professionals such as those in attendance today. Hopefully, success in product management requires the balance of technical and soft skills. AI is transforming the role of product managers, offering new capabilities, but also new responsibilities. Standing out in your career requires continuous learning, networking, and strategic skill development. And the King's Product Management Career Accelerator offers a pathway to developing the skills needed to excel in this landscape. Some things to consider on top of that I haven't mentioned is, lastly, this is the first career accelerator that is also now able to provide you with a postgraduate certificate, a level 7 qualification. So people that complete the Career Accelerator will have the option of doing an additional capstone project with King's and directly with King's, enabling the awarding of a level 7 postgraduate certificate. It's the equivalent of 1/3 of a master's, but it comes with a whole host of benefits, such as your alumni status with King's, access to libraries, all those sorts of things. But more importantly, the actual learning is able to be applied in your workplace. So there's a project that you work on. If you go through the Career Accelerator, obtain your career outcome, and then apply that project to your workplace, there's a productive outcome from your education there. So that makes up a portion of the postgraduate certificate. Then there's an academic dissertation looking deep into the learnings from that project, and lastly, a very short presentation rounding it all off. Again, your enrolment advisors are the best ones to speak with relating to that, and they'll give you all the advice and the way in which you can bundle the two together as well. Tom, if you have to run, I'll say a great big thank you to you now. Justin and I are going to stick around for a few moments and answer a couple more questions, and specifically what it's like to apply, but what it's like on a week-to-week basis to study the Career Accelerator time commitment. Tom, your insights as always have been fabulous. Thank you ever so kindly.
No worries. Thank you very much for having me. And yeah, I've got to go to a product design meeting, so very topical. So I will see some of you soon, hopefully.
Go there inspired from what you've imparted on the audience today. Thanks, Tom. Cheers.
Thanks very much, all. Bye.
So I just thought, for those that can stick around, we'll be brief, but we'll get back to the questions in a moment. The program, the Career Accelerator, is delivered 100% online. It's around that 15 hours a week, made up of a blend of synchronous and asynchronous, meaning there are live sessions for learners with the likes of Justin and Tom, and they are recorded if you can't attend, but then there's the majority being asynchronous, meaning that you choose when and how study fits in with your life and other life responsibilities such as work and family. The entry criteria is that you've completed a bachelor degree or have up to 2 years of relevant professional experience. Again, speak with your enrolment advisor if you're not 100% sure on that. And the application process is now even more straightforward. It requires you to upload a transcript of your previous studies, along with your identity document. And depending which link you get, there might be an additional requirement, but generally that is enough for an enrolment advisor then to reach out to you to understand a little bit more about your background, but then answer any specific questions that you may have in a phone conversation or a Google Meet, if that's what you prefer as well. We'll come to the question in a second. I just wanted to cover off how we can support you financially and enable more learners to gain entry into the program. The Career Accelerator is £6,000. That includes that extended career coaching over a 12-month period that I've mentioned. And you can reduce that rate by paying the fees up front. You can reduce the rate by £450, which is amazing value. We also do want to enable more learners to access the program. So we do offer payment plans. There's a 6-month plan with no fees and no interest. And there are also the extended options. There's a finance-based application that you'll go through with StepX if you want to extend over 24 months. The most popular is that 6-month option, as it coincides with the completion of your Career Accelerator, and it enables easy access then to the postgraduate certificate, because you will need to be financial to enter the postgrad certificate as well. Most, or if not all, payment plans require a 10% deposit, and then payment plans over the period with no interest, as I've mentioned already. Feel free to jot any questions you may have regarding those specifically into the chat, but we'll get back to some of the questions if that's all right. Justin, we've probably got another 10 minutes or so. PS has asked here, what of those currently working in product management, especially product owner roles, can you share specific instances where AI has affected ways of working and delivery? I think we've done it a bit, but is there any other insights there, Justin, you can provide, PS?
Yeah, I think I've shared everything. Obviously, you have the integration of AI into your product. So I shared specific instances where we are looking at how it can support and improve our fourth rev services by helping with could be marketing, could be communications, delivery, but making sure we're actually improving the experience rather than degrading it. So obviously there are instances where you're going to have to factor in how it integrates into your service. And then internally, I think Fourth Rev has experienced what everyone else has on initial documentation drafts, communication drafts. A lot of it is being done with the support of AI. Data analysis is being done with the support of AI, and a lot of that stuff is being used to speed up the way in which we can work and produce internal content that we share within the business. Obviously, being a creator of content, like live course content, we are a lot more strict and considerate when it comes to generative AI and developing course content. So it's mostly for those internal documents and strategies that we use it for. And I think it's going to be the same for most PMs, like PRDs and research scripts, et cetera. Product requirement documents. That's what a PRD is. Sorry.
Thank you. I get lost with the acronym sometimes. A quick question that someone's listed here. What is the cost of the postgraduate certificate? It's £2,000. It's directly, you go through an application process directly with King's, and it is a requirement that you've achieved a pass mark of a minimum of 60% across the Career Accelerator, because it counts academically towards the requirement of the postgraduate certificate as well. There's 2 payment options for that. There's upfront or there's split over 2 payments generally. So those that finish, let me just have a look. We run 2 intakes of that per year. If I look at when this group is starting, in the start date for this upcoming presentation is the 22nd of April. So applications need to be in quite promptly. You will finish studying in November, and generally the success team may be able to fast track you into the postgrad cert starting January. If not, there's another one in June. As I said, often it's the case that people want to get their career outcome and then do that as well. A couple of other quick questions. Someone's asked, how's the program structured? Is it full-time 9 to 5? Can you work at the same time as completing the course? Almost all of our learners work generally full-time whilst completing the Career Accelerator, because it is designed for the working professional as well. As I mentioned, the majority being asynchronous. You choose when and how study fits in with your life, but the key is to lean on the supports available to you, both with Justin and others, but also especially the success managers in designing your study plan, but committing to doing a bit regularly, not a whole chunk at the end, is the key to successful online learning that we support you with. So it's very flexible in that it's designed to fit in with you. There are live sessions weekly that you're encouraged to attend or watch on recording, but always the best outcomes are for those that attend live. You can ask questions that are relevant to your own circumstances and the like. So it is designed to fit in with work as well. Huan's asked here, how relevant is the content for the life science sector? You might be better answering this than I, Justin, but I think the product skills learnt are adaptable across all sectors.
Yeah, so I think we can answer this question and the next one, which is about travel product management, at the same time. So we do touch on a number of industries, but it's not like we deep dive and specialize in any industry. As you know, product manager can be across many different industries and many different types of products. We do cover some different types of products, like whether it's physical or digital. Obviously, this course focuses more on the digital products like apps and websites, but we do cover other areas like physical services, physical products, physical services. We do, particularly with our relationship in this course with King's, we try to make a focus on government and third sector as well. So we, when we have an example in the corporate sector, we also will try to have equal number of examples in third sector and government. So we do try to cover a lot of diverse areas, but we don't focus on any one industry, because you should be set up for success to work across any industry out there as a product manager, except for maybe something extremely technical and niche.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's the postgraduate certificate in what? Yes, it is a postgraduate certificate in product management issued by King's, and one of the only postgraduate certificates in product management globally. I think there's one here in Australia as well, but you'll be miles ahead of peers. And when you're thinking of a competitive job-seeking landscape and so forth, it's sometimes what you can do in addition to or over and above what others are doing. But we're so proud of our graduates of the postgraduate certificate and how they're applying the learning to obtain their intended career outcomes as well. I'm going to end it there, but I'm not going to end it without saying a thank you to Justin first and foremost. And as always, Justin, you're an integral part of the success of the program and the teachings of the program. You're also a very valued member of many of the webinars that we host for the benefit of those in attendance. So thank you as always. Secondly, Sam in the background, thank you as well for your organisation of the events. We had a huge number of attendees and registrants that will really enjoy the recording. And last of all, thank you to the audience. You've taken a significant step by educating yourself further as to the benefit of and the strategies behind not only becoming a product manager, but the inclusions of AI in product that was the topic of today. It's now about the next step, and the best next step that you can take, if you haven't done so already, is to book a time with your enrolment advisor to have a really honest conversation about your circumstances and how this may or even may not help you achieve or accelerate your career. And it's also a conversation with those around you, be it your colleagues, be it your certainly family, about what is a considerable 6-month commitment of 15 hours or so a week for you to achieve your intended career outcome and potentially provide more for your family, if that's the motivation. So engage others in your decision. Be proud of the fact that you're wanting to apply to King's College, one of the top 30 universities in the world and one of the highest ranked for humanities. And on acceptance, be proud of that as well. But inform them, inspire them of your decision, and then make your decision, I think, is the key next steps. You can do so by clicking that link in the chat function to book a time with your friendly enrolment advisor. From myself and from Justin, thank you all. It's been brilliant to see so many of you here and to have so many of you interested in either accelerating your career in product or transitioning your career in product. Have a great day, and we look forward to welcoming, supporting, and most importantly, celebrating your success in your career as well. Cheerio.